What are we calling this thing?
I thought we were going to call it Whiskey Rebellion.
Are we rebelling?
Well, we got the whiskey.
And we're rebels?
Rebels? Rebellion?
You never know.
You know, the Whiskey Rebellion was a political thing. Taxation.
So did this come out of the government overreach and sucking away?
It came out of the government trying to pay off their debt. So they
Is that
thought
what it was?
they thought they would tax whiskey and make some money, and ended up getting a number of people killed.
It started out as a taxation thing?
Yeah. It's a whiskey tax.
Prohibition?
Not prohibition.
So then the
Whiskey
bringing
Rebellion.
it back?
Think.
Or are we talking prior to Prohibition?
We're talking George Washington as president.
So, see, that is a good thing good question. This is mic stand. That's a good question that I have. Why is it so taxed?
Now?
Yeah. It's just a holdover from way back?
The power to tax is the power to destroy, I guess. I honestly, I don't have the history of that. That's maybe a longer story.
A later episode,
yeah,
perhaps.
I think that probably grew out of Prohibition, whereas Whiskey Rebellion, that was just them rebelling against the taxation of them producing their whiskey.
Isn't it
and
true?
And there was a difference. There was like what was it, like 6 cents a gallon, I think, or 9 cents a gallon if you were a small producer, but 6 cents a gallon if you were a high producer. So
what? Really?
Yeah. So there was and their ability to collect it was just, they strung people up, and it wasn't good. It's not a good deal. But I figured, politics and whiskey, we could kind of.
It always goes well. Didn't NASCAR come out of Prohibition? Moonshine running. Is that true, or is that just an old wives' tale?
I think. Well, I've heard that, certainly. I don't know whether or not. I haven't fact checked it personally. So, but.
So the theory behind this is we just enjoy a spirit.
A spirit.
And have a spirited conversation.
A spirited conversation. I like it. So I think the first thing we're going to try tonight is is this called a 2XO? Is that what this thing is called?
That is the label.
It's a Kentucky bourbon. Picked this up for me a couple months ago, and we have not had the opportunity to try it out, so we're gonna open it up tonight.
So Dixon Dedmond is the mixer.
That's the name on there. Mixer.
2XO, 2 times oak is the what that stands for. Is a whiskey brand from renowned blender Dixon Dedmond. Not Dedmond, Deadman. 2XO is a blending process Dixon pioneered when he re-barrels his hand-selected aged whiskey into new charred oak. There it is.
Had to get that noise in there.
Into new charred oak barrels to create a unique combination of intense flavors and character and complexity with each blend.
Now, I've had a couple of different...
Now, he's 42. He's a young chap.
Well, one thing, I've had a couple of these double oaks that I've really liked.
Woodford being the top.
Woodford
correct?
being my favorite of the double oaks.
So one thing we talked about is we're not snobs. No. I mean, we're snobs, but not, maybe not in the
We're not bourbon
sense.
snobs.
Right.
We're not bourbon experts.
We don't really know what we're talking about.
That's right.
We just know what we like.
Right. Just like politics, right?
Well, true. We know what we like and hate. So it's interesting because the nose of this kind of brings me back to childhood in school. There's a weird note of
You were a drunk in school? I didn't. I wasn't aware of that.
It's a weird note of Expo dry erase marker on the nose, just a bit. It's strange.
Expo dry erase marker. Wow, I have not heard anyone use that for.
The first time that really jumped out, I was trying Jack Daniel's rye. I think they're bottled and bond rye. And the nose smell, it was like, wow, this is the whiteboard. And a fresh marker as you write, and the squeaking sound as you write across the board. It's weird.
What do you think? This again.
So I have a bottle of this at home.
Yes.
That I picked up around Christmas time, and I cracked it open a couple weeks ago. And what some call the neck pour, that first bit, I didn't love, but as it sat open, like on the shelf, and then I came back to it a few days later, whenever, it was a lot smoother, and the oak was pretty forward, which it should be.
This is what, the 92 proof?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it would be really fun to be able to have a reference point for all the things you're supposed to be smelling, for all the notes you're supposed to have. So you get a little bucket of grape, a little bucket of, whatever, all the things, oak, dirty socks, all the things you're supposed to.
The problem is your senses quickly become overwhelmed, and especially with these, I think.
Yeah. Apparently, old Dixon grew up on the whiskey trail, infusing the learnings from industry legends with his culinary expertise from running his family's business, the famed and James Beard Award-winning Beaumont Inn. His credentials are unsurpassed among high-end whiskey retailers, writers, and collectors. He's a foodie, a wine connoisseur, runs marathons, and is a sneakerhead. Sneakerhead? What? Sneaker collector.
Sneaker collector.
Who connects with a broad range of drinkers, from millennials to boomers. This is from the 2xowhiskey.com. But this release, this is the American Double Oak. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
What do they call that? American
Oak, Kentucky Straight, bourbon whiskey.
Okay. It's not
the Oak series.
It's not bad by any means.
This one also does kind of strike me as a little bit of a rye. It's got that kind of hot.
It does have that kind of the spiciness of rye.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it definitely does.
You can tell there's a lot of grain in it. Like it tastes very grainy.
So
not milly, but grainy.
A lot of spice in it. Maybe kind of like Trump.
It's possible. It's possible.
Not quite as smooth, right?
So, who would be the smooth side of that?
Who would be you mean that's out there right now?
Well, sure.
That's a tough one. I think, obviously, Nikki Haley is kind of the one leading out in the opposition right now. I think everybody else is kind of.
Do you think she has a chance?
On which part? Beating Trump or beating Biden?
Winning. In November.
Oh, yes.
How?
I do. Well, I mean, some of the polls, if you look at head-to-head with Biden, just Nikki Haley against Biden, she beats him by 17 points.
Okay, so is it fair to even use polls today after what happened in 16 and 20?
Well, what are you referring to exactly?
Well, all the polls had Hillary, like landslide. And then a lot of the polls were Biden didn't have much of a chance.
Yeah.
So in my thinking, and even listen to the White House, all polls, we don't listen to polls until they're in their favor. And I think all politicians do this.
Yeah, and I think the issue with most of these guys is that they they're interested in getting elected, so they'll say whatever they need to say about the polls, whether if they're in their favor, then they're right. If they're not in their favor, then they're probably wrong.
I didn't realize this, but I'm just looking at an article right now. about the poll. Not the polls, about the race. Christie
Yes.
dropped out on Wednesday. This
Yeah.
Wednesday,
Apparently
I guess,
they were
2 days ago.
they were getting ready to close Dunkin' Donuts, and he was late for his.
Wait! I need in. And so because of that, who cares what polls say? With less than 2 weeks until the New Hampshire primary, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley's momentum in the pivotal state, New Jersey, may be slowing down, according to a new poll. The survey published at the St. Anselm College Survey Center Thursday and conducted between January 8 and 9 found 31% of likely Republican primary voters would support Haley compared to 45% who would back Trump. So she's closing the gap in the polls.
So those were likely Republican voters?
Yeah.
But in New Hampshire, it's an open primary.
Manchester, New Hampshire, yeah.
So independents can vote in the Republican primary.
Okay. So then
I think if you
matter.
Well, in terms of New Hampshire, maybe not. I think broadly it's obviously going to matter because she's not going to have that option in other states. But I think that's going to be significantly closer because in New Hampshire, it's open primaries.
Should they all be that way? Shouldn't everything be okay?
I don't think so. I think I'm more of a purist than that. So you have a party affiliation for a reason, and you're choosing who you want to represent you. I think the problem with these open primaries is that you get spoilers.
Hold on, who's choosing who you want to represent them?
Well, if you're a member of the Democrat Party, then you get to vote as to who's going to represent your party in the election.
Right, but I don't have any say on who I get to vote for within that.
Yeah, that's a different story. But you shouldn't have Republicans coming in and sabotaging your Democrat choice.
So then, should you not be able to change your political affiliation, your party affiliation for the entire election cycle? So you couldn't
Certainly
go
you
in
could.
switch. No, people do. Well, there was a big push back when Hillary. I want to say it was Hillary and Obama in 2008. There were people thinking they needed to switch. Or it might have been with Trump, one of them. But they wanted someone on the opposition to actually be there because they knew they could beat him. And so the encouragement was to go change your vote or change your registration to the Republican and vote in the primary for this person because we want to get that person on the ballot. So then we can beat him. And then switch back again. So
it seems like a bad idea, doesn't it?
Well, it seems like it because, when the polls are wrong, or maybe you'll end up liking the guy.
I just mean it seems like a bad idea because you're kind of sabotaging the other side, and I mean that's
isn't that politics?
I'll tell you what, not to completely change the subject, but what they're doing with trying to take Trump off of the ballot. It's just a horrendous move. It's a stupid move.
No, it's protecting democracy.
It's protecting tyrants. That's just a horrible and just the question is not whether the Supreme Court is going to overturn it. The only question is how broad will the decision be? And how many justices will join the majority opinion? So it will be overturned.
So you have some standing in understanding in your background. You understand the law world. You've been in the Supreme Court, correct?
Been to it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you've sat in.
Yeah. Yep.
Is there any constitutional grounds for any of those justices to say, nope, Colorado's right?
I don't think so. But of course, you do have some justices up there who have a political bent that are more interested in political view than they are the legal part of it. So, I mean, let's just look at this Why is Colorado and other states saying that he can't be on the ballot? Because he was part of an insurrection.
Well, they
So,
said he couldn't be on the ballot, and then they stayed their own decision.
but
So basically, they just wanted to get their voice on the record. We're just going to get it out there so we can be heard, and then we're going to stop our decision, which wouldn't have taken him off the ballot. Timing, it wasn't going to happen.
so here's the thing, the whole thing surrounding it is under what grounds do they have to remove someone from the ballot?
Mm-hmm.
They're claiming that their grounds is that he participated in an insurrection.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you get to a due process situation because who said?
Right? Yeah.
Has he been tried and convicted?
So do you think that's going to be the biggest argument? Is their proof they're stating hasn't been proven?
They have no position with which to say he was part of an insurrection. First of all, what is an insurrection? Define an
January
insurrection.
6th.
Define an insurrection, first of all. Secondly, is this? I don't really care whether or not this was intended for Civil War time. Keeping people off that participated in the Civil War, and it's maybe obsolete now. It's written law, so let's deal with it as it's written. If you don't like it, if you don't want it to still be around, then repeal it.
But you're talking about the 14th Amendment,
right? So if we're gonna keep him off the ballot for an insurrection, we've got to have an actual insurrection, and he has to have been tried and convicted in order to remove him.
But isn't the fact that we've accused him of that enough?
Your sarcasm is it's
deep.
It's dripping. It's dripping into your into your bourbon there.
Into the 2XO. So what are your initial thoughts
on this?
The American Oak.
Okay, I'm probably going to use some terms that some of the snobbier types will not like.
Mm-hmm.
This is hot.
For a 92 proof, it's drinking hot?
It feels hot to me. It's got a very, very spicy feel to it.
And that makes sense if it's rye heavy or rye forward.
I guess.
Can we see the mash bill on that? Let's go see.
It has to be. It has to be more corn than anything.
All right. Well, of course. But here we go. So the American Oak series is from their website. The American Oak is the first blend in the Oak series initiative. Double oak. Oh, brother, an innovative double oak technique where Dixon introduces additional charred oak to barrels with a moderate amount of rye in the mash bill. Dixon will match the profile of each batch for consistent taste and character, providing an everyday offering. American Oak moves from sweet, rich butterscotch on the front to savory roasted nutty notes in the middle, finishing with a lingering mild spice. It is very approachable and perfect for cocktails.
Very perfect for cocktails. Is he saying it's a mixing
right.
bourbon?
It's so good you need to water it down with something else.
Well, I did hear some politics in there. I heard nuttiness.
Fantastic. It was released September 2023, so it's fairly new.
You must have got that hot off the press.
Yeah,
you had that down here.
Oh yeah,
in November.
It just landed on the shelf, and I grabbed it. On the nose, it's vanilla. You have vanilla in there.
Yeah, and you can definitely hit the caramel notes in there.
Caramel, and then there's also something that makes sense now that I hear it. Honeysuckle. I remember as a child, my grandma had a honeysuckle.
Go out there and
pull it off, and you'd bite off the back end of that.
Yeah.
And then the sweetness of that. And that is kind of on the nose. That's weird. That is strange. Because that's what I was wondering in this one. And then citrus zest. I'm not sure about the citrus.
So now that I've defended Trump and all of his nuttiness,
Who's defended anyone?
um, I need to hear you make the case for Nikki Haley now.
For Vivek Ramaswamy? What?
So who realistically you're looking at what's out there in the primary.
To be quite honest, there's only one option in my mind, and it is Vivek. Now, I know he doesn't have a chance, but he
we're back to the
feels
nutty
like
thing.
well, right, but he is the bombast of Trump with polished verbal skills. Now, I don't think he has the history of Trump and his negotiating, which whatever. I know there's no evidence that Trump is a good negotiator other than he's told us all about it. And he wrote a book.
He's absolutely the best
he's
negotiator.
the best at it, right. I do know that as an American business owner, during the 4 years of him, I wasn't negatively impacted by decisions that were made, other than the COVID nonsense.
Right.
Under Obama, under Biden, I have seen negative impact on my business, whether it's because of inflation, different tax issues. There's just, I felt more negative impact under those two than I did under Trump. Now, I don't want a president that is a preacher. I'm not looking for a president that's my father figure. The person, now you kid, you need to be like the president. No. I mean, if that were the case, we could probably throw all of them out. All of them. Going back maybe forever. It's possible Washington was okay. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, the darling of the left is JFK. The most womanizing, horrible, example of a human man that there could be. So
you say darling of the left, but the right kind of idolizes him a lot now too.
Well, they do now, but not because they didn't back then. I mean, I've got some pretty liberal friends that JFK is like the Lord for them,
and he's way more conservative.
I know
than what most of the people on the left are today. Gave us some substantial tax cuts, in fact.
Well, it sounds like that he was an outlier in the Kennedy clan, in what he wanted to do, and certainly an outlier in the way the machine worked, and the war machine as well. I mean, Vietnam, that whole debacle. The word is he was getting ready to nix that whole thing. Can't have that. So what do we do with him? We got to stop him somehow. I don't know. I mean, there's a whole rabbit trail down there too. But as far as the current offerings, the rhetoric that resonates the most with the way I believe is Vivek, like stomachache Ramaswamy.
But some of the stuff he says is just a little bit on the ludicrous side too.
Yeah, but he's playing out of the Trump playbook, where bombast, and you kind of go big to get your point across. When do the
adults get to run the show?
But they haven't run the show for decades, maybe never, in my lifetime. And you've been around longer than me, sorta.
Not much.
I don't remember when the adults ran the asylum. The other issue I have is, in my lifetime, there's been one president that has not increased our war footprint in America, in the world. And that's Trump. And that's fascinating, because since the early 90s, we have been in war with some unknown creature out there. Terrorism. We've been in war. For what? To what end? What's the goal? I don't know.
Well, there are a lot of crazy rogue nations out there that if we do nothing, you can't just let a bully continue down the road.
But that sounds good. But
there was an interesting. I don't know if
stopping a bully though. You have to. You knock them on their butt.
Yeah.
You don't like poke at them. You know, that's not how you stop. If you have a bully, you go stop them. And so my thinking is,
what you're saying
stop
is
them. If you're going to do it, go do it.
So the idea of proportionate response, you're not a fan of.
So you knock down one of our buildings, we're going to go knock down one of yours. Is that what you're thinking?
More or less, right? So a lot of people are pretty upset with Israel because their response is significantly more aggressive than the attack that they sustained, right? So they're disproportionately taking these guys out, along with
I think that's a fair assessment. Yeah,
and I don't have an issue with that. I think it's what you say. You're not just going to poke back. You're going to.
Yeah, I mean, man, I probably can't even go into this. I guess I don't agree with the idea that we have to play nice. If we're going to get in the game, we need to win.
And that's why you need to vote for Nikki Haley.
Oh,
right?
Bull crap. Why? And to be honest, not that I wasn't honest before, but the option on the left, no matter who they put up, is unacceptable.
Right.
And so the reality is, whoever is opposite the left, because their position is so abhorrent on most things, absolutely, I'm going to support the person that's not that. I'm not. I don't champion anyone that's on the right currently.
I think the thing with Nikki Haley that I like, you called her a warmonger at one point in one of our discussions. I think she's not afraid to use force to back up her words. I think she did that in combination with Trump while she was at the United Nations.
Does there need to be? Is blood the only answer? I guess is the real question. Is that the thing that fixes this? Killing people?
Right, you have a problem with killing people? I mean,
it was a question. I'm not going to do it unless I have to, but.
Well, I think, I think at times it's necessary. You can't, when you have regimes like North Korea, Iran.
Okay, let's stop. What's the threat of North Korea?
North Korea now has the ability to hit the United States with a nuclear weapon.
From what?
And
they're so backward in their country. How in the world do they have a nuke where they could beat us?
Well, I mean, if they launch it, that's the problem, right? Whether or not it actually hits here is a different story. But if they launch it, that's a problem.
If they launch it, they don't exist anymore, right?
That's probably true, but that doesn't mean that there's no risk there.
Well, the real risk is to Seoul. Because if we hit North Korea, South Korea might get some damage.
And what about Iran?
I don't know. I mean, what about them? I mean, here's my thing. Israel has been saying, we got to stop Iran, stop Iran. Then go do it.
Why don't they go do it?
I don't know.
I think...
Are they just controlling
the
themselves?
constraints of the world constantly keeping them at check. I think if they answered only to themselves, they would take them out.
Do you acknowledge the fact, and I'll say the fact, that war is very lucrative?
It is for some, yeah.
And those people, those entities that benefit, have a lot of power.
So you're voting for Tulsi Gabbard. That's what you're saying. You're going for this industrial military complex.
Maybe.
I mean, that's always the way of it, right? Except, there's not a correct way to handle.
Was it Eisenhower on his exit talked about that being one of the bigger threats, the military industrial complex?
Right.
And not that there's this big machine, but that this big machine, it's in its best interest is war. And so it makes sense for it. It's just like an airline. It's in the best interest of an airline for air travel to be really, really popular.
Right. For sure. So you're saying war should be popular.
It is popular with some. Both parties are pretty close. You ever heard of John McCain?
We talked a little bit. So what we've done, both in support of Israel and in support of our friends over in
Volodymyr, the actor.
Yeah. So over in the Ukraine, we've shipped them all our leftovers.
All our old crap.
We've emptied out a lot of our arsenal and our military bases of our weapons and equipment. A lot of equipment that we've shipped over. And then
purportedly in support of democracy.
Yeah? What are you saying?
Zelensky changed the law to where he can be president for life.
That's excellent choice.
He changed the law to where opposition is illegal. The opposition party is illegal in Ukraine. They shut down all religions but one. That ain't democracy.
What?
It certainly isn't the way of America. What are we supporting over there? I don't know that we're going after Putin. We're going to get
well.
Putin.
I think tying Russia up in a war that they're unable to they thought they were going to roll in and take them over. I think tying them up, costing them financially. I mean, it's essentially what we did to them. We just outspent them during the Cold War, and now we're making them use all their weapons now on the Ukraine. It's better than sending our people over there, right?
Is there no direct parallel that we are missing? Because I don't say unwittingly, because I think it was wittingly, have tied ourselves up in this Ukraine-Russia debacle. And to be honest, Ukraine's not winning. I don't care what any politician says. Ukraine isn't winning. If anything, it's a standstill. They're going to have to come to an agreement and decide to stop. Or one of them will have to do something really big that's dangerous. We are totally entangled in that mess. The worry is that China is now saying, we can't do anything about Taiwan because we're sucked into this stupid Ukraine BS.
I don't think we're so tied into that.
Of course we are. If we have to replenish our weapony that we've been given away.
Certainly.
There's not time for that, is there?
I think we're probably doing that now. I mean, you think the industrial military complex is missing the opportunity to refill those vacant?
No, that's why they've gotten so much free unappropriated money.
I think backing off on that would maybe embolden China.
Did you want to run for president?
No, definitely not.
So, the taste of this
Yeah.
they claim is butterscotch. You have butterscotch on there?
I didn't hit the butterscotch.
Roasted
notes.
cashews. Nougat. I'm thinking like a big hunk. Not there. I don't see it there. When I think of nougat, that's what I think of. And then caramel brittle, like butter, like peanut butter brittle, but caramel. I
didn't know we were eating candy tonight.
Well, it was. Yeah, me neither. The finish. Ready for the finish, and then we'll move on to number 2.
All right.
And this, I think, is dead on the money. And it's the rye. It's light, peppery spice. Absolutely there.
Yeah, for sure.
This episode kindly brought to you by these phenomenal port glasses. Sherry taste. They're lovely. You sent me a batch of them, and they are my favorite sipping glass.
I have another one downstairs, but I don't have a pair of them that I really like. It's got an interesting shape. Now we get to try out my favorite.
Mm-hmm. The wood. Ready? Ah, there it is.
There we go.
Fresh out the barrel. I'm going to go ahead and rinse out the old jigger. No, that's the wrong word. So we'll have a little... Hold on. We will have a little sporting break. A little sports break here. The town I live in is the hometown for the apparently phenomenal head coach of the Washington Huskies, which personally I have to hate because
you're a Ducks.
I have been an Oregon Duck fan my entire life. And the Ducks and the Huskies
you don't have to hate them anymore because there's no Pac-12 anymore.
Oh, this is true, but still, they were moving to the same Big 19 or whatever they're going to be. Big lot. Hey, be the Big Lot team conference. That's a great idea. 2 years at Washington State. No, Washington. This Kalen DeBoer, coach. Brought that team. I don't know if he lost. He may have lost one, but this year he was undefeated. Beat Oregon twice. Barely. Like by the skin of their teeth. They shouldn't have won the game. Half the games they won. They really just eked it out. But fine. They went there. They went to the national championship game and kind of got their butt handed to them by Michigan.
Did you watch that game?
I did. That last half. I didn't see the first half.
Yeah, obviously the first half was very close.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a 7-point differential at halftime.
Yeah, yep.
And I think there was only a 7-point differential going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they did have Penix Jr., their quarterback, did get kind of hurt a bit.
I would say that it did look like Michigan was kind of running them over at that point, even though the points didn't show it.
Yep.
And then I actually missed the part of the fourth quarter. I started the fourth quarter, and then I had left Grapevine and was heading back home. About a 15-minute drive, about 10 minutes of game time, and there was like 14 more points scored. So I kind of missed part of that.
So what happens? I'm on one of these, the Woodford website. What if I put in, I'm born in 1898? Think that'd work?
They're asking you your age.
Yeah.
Too,
Oh, it's valid. You must be 19. Okay, 1900. So I could still be born in 1900, and they will allow me in. Done.
Excellent.
124 years old.
Because anybody that wants to be in there is not going to lie about
No,
their age.
not remotely, huh? So this double oak is 90.4 proof. Yeah? Is that what we've got here? Kentucky straight, finished in a second oak barrel. So the 2XO is additional charred oak put in the barrel. Woodford double oak is actually re-barreled.
Re-barreled, yes.
So that's a totally different process.
Yes, this is 90.4.
You trying to put those glasses back on like that? That's good for the camera.
90.4, and this was 92, so close.
So I guess we didn't even do this. We should try that. So that is the Woodford. Woodford, give me the 2XO. This was our initial offering. Oh, hello, camera. You want to focus today? Get off my face. Jeez, what's the deal here? Oh, so close. Hide. That's not working. How about yours? There we go. I think the 2XO is it around $50, 55, 60, somewhere in that range. And the Woodford's around 55, 50. Somewhere in that 50, yeah.
Depending on where you go, 50, 55.
Yeah. All right, so on the nose, what are you getting? I have the official.
So this one to me has one of the heaviest caramel smells to it.
It really does, yes. And it's almost a caramel that is too vanilla-y. It's almost too rich.
Yeah, it's a very rich.
And there's, what is marzipan?
Some kind of candy, right?
What is marzipan? Talk to me. It's a confection consisting primarily of sugar, honey, and almond meal. Okay, so that makes sense. That would be it's kind of another sweet. It's almost this is almost butterscotch. Like I think there's a note of butterscotch in the note here. Most definitely.
Definitely.
Dark fruit.
Definitely taste the butterscotch in it.
Yeah, and that's not on the list.
I sound like Rain Man here. Definitely.
Definitely. It's not on the list, though.
Butterscotch is not on the list. Ah.
Okay, the taste of it. Oh, we'll get there. Sports. Kalen DeBoer, Washington. So he goes to the championship, college football championship. What's that, CFP or B, whatever the stupid thing was. And this is the last time they're going to be at this 4-team playoff thing.
Right.
Pull that thing close to you. Otherwise, we're not going to hear you. And so this is the last thing. He won the last Pac-12 championship against the Ducks in Vegas. He loses against Michigan Monday, 4 days ago, right? It's Friday. Yeah. Today, the news is out. Kalen DeBoer is the new head coach of Alabama after Nick Saban retires, leaving $73 million on the table. DeBoer reported to make $10 million in Alabama. Alabama must buy out the contract from the University of Washington for $12 million.
Football's a lucrative business. You were talking about the war machine.
Yeah. Tell me. Yeah, I know. And you know what? No one dies. Much.
Well, maybe.
The story was UW was to offer $8 to $9 million that would have doubled his $4.2 million salary. That was just the latest bit. So it's so funny because our town has like turned into these weird Husky fans because his sister lives in our town, and all of a sudden, we will love Washington. Not to mention the South Dakota State University is the champion, second year in a row champs of their division for the national whatever. But that doesn't matter. Yay, Washington.
Hey, did you guys win the other day?
Yeah, they blew them out. It was wait, you guys. I didn't win. I didn't play the game at all. But yeah, the
South Dakota.
The Bunny Rabbits.
They beat they chased the Jackrabbits.
Montana something, I think is who it was.
Montana Grizzly.
Yeah, I think so. So everyone in our town, and I think a bunch of them gone out and bought Husky wear. Now what are they going to do? They got to go get Alabama wear.
Well, I we'll see how long he lasts at Alabama.
Why do you say that? You think that's because that's a huge shoe to fill?
What are you going to do when you don't win?
Well, Nick Saban, why is he out? I mean, he's 7-time national champion.
And he didn't do too bad this year either.
Right, yeah.
2 losses?
Yeah.
2 losses made the semifinals. But, yeah, I mean, he left of his own accord, apparently. So,
do you leave of your own accord when there's that much money still left in your contract? He had, I think, a contract to 29 or 30.
He's just tired of coaching. I don't know. How old is he? He's 70-something?
Well, let's do a little search.
I think he's getting up there. Maybe he just wants to bounce his grandkids on his knee or something.
He's 72. That's not very old. I mean, presumably he has, amassed a decent fortune being at, let's see, when did he go to Alabama? Come on, Wikipedia. Nicholas Lou Saban Jr. Is a former American football coach. Okay. He last served as the head coach of the University of Alabama. Now, that's fascinating. This is already updated. This happened today. From 07 to 23.
It's a pretty good run.
Yeah. So, I mean, I assume if you're wise, and a lot of those guys at that level, they're no slouches, he would have made some good choices. So maybe he didn't need it. Or maybe
I wouldn't think that he would. I mean,
well,
other than the fact that you're going to pay a crap ton of taxes on that kind of money.
Yeah, that's actually kind of gross if you think about it.
Oh, it is.
But at that level,
it's obscene.
But at that level, though, I mean, when you have that much, it shouldn't matter. Who cares? But when you have that much, do you notice?
I don't know
when that much goes out.
But
get on your microphone. You keep cutting out.
If you said if you've made $2 million, and you're paying out 40% in taxes, man, that's just $800,000. Thank you.
No, I'm not saying it's not gross, but do you notice it when you're bringing in 10, 12 million a year? And so you still have to say you got to give 4 away. Is that even? Do you see it? Because what are you spending your money on that you'd even see that?
I don't know. You probably have to buy some property or something.
I'm no fan of taxes, believe me.
So that was our sports break. Other than the fact that the Niners are gonna.
Do we need to talk about? Well, they're supposed to, based on the color scheme of the NFL logo.
Have you looked at that though? Have you? I know I've heard that nonsense. Have you actually looked at the logo?
Yeah,
the logo is basically purple.
Hello. You mix colors, right?
It looks
red and
actually. So let's where is the Super Bowl this year?
I don't know.
It's in Las Vegas.
Okay, should be black and silver.
You look at it. No. You look at it. It's a desert sunset. It's the purple and red, kind of purple and orange.
But you can't tell me it's not fun to think about the possibility that this whole thing is a staged event.
I just have a real problem with conspiracy theories.
Why? Let's go down that road. Why?
Because they're too easy. They're too easy to poke holes in. They're too easy to believe.
Why? What do you mean?
Just all the way around. It's you have these conspiracies that supposedly, half of the U.S. government is involved in, or half of the football operations is involved in. How they can't even keep secret for a day when somebody is switching positions. How in the world would you keep such a conspiracy hidden? These guys just love to, and here's the thing, like you look at stuff, whether it's 9/11 or whatever, it doesn't matter. There's always going to be inconsistencies in the history of what happened. So when people point to that and go, "Oh, well, there's this inconsistency or something that you can't explain, or there's two different versions of something," that's just history. That's just what it is.
So you're saying that's just normal because
I
people
do.
remember
Yeah,
things different. So
absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
so changes in the story are just
what
okay.
what is the most unreliable piece of evidence in court?
Hearsay. No, I have no idea.
Personal experience.
Anecdotes.
Personal experience. How many cases have you seen where a woman testified in court, absolutely, that's the person that raped me? Turns out 10, 15 years later, he's exonerated because he's not the one that raped her. But she stood up and she was absolutely adamant. She believed. Eyewitness testimony is absolutely the worst. Our brain just fills in the gaps, right? So we believe what we're saying, but that doesn't make it accurate.
So, should we go away from the model of a jury of your peers?
Absolutely not.
Why?
I think there's less chance of corruption.
You mean going to professional jurors would be, you just buy them off?
I mean, that's essentially what you could do with a judge.
Can't you do that now with a jury, though? I mean, what was that that Grisham book?
Which one?
Was it the Jury? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think so. I think I read it, but it's been a long time. Wasn't that the one where they had a second jury? I don't know. It's been too long.
I think there was the either the foreman or somebody they had gotten to, and so they basically he had to throw the trial.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know if it was a threat or blackmail or what.
I mean, there's obviously the risk of that. I think that the problem is when you have a judge who's somewhat set apart from a defendant in those cases. At least now you can find the dumbest people in your community to judge you because they're the only ones that couldn't figure out how to get out of.
But doesn't it then require phenomenal manipulation skills of the legal teams to get these juries to then get the right decision or the one that they want?
Well,
is that what lawyering is? Just good manipulation skills?
Good manipulation skills. I think it's more than that.
Of course, maybe.
I think most people are pretty good when given the facts and the law, and applying, determining what the facts are. I think most people are pretty fair about it.
You think Trump could ever get a fair trial?
I find it interesting that he's chosen not to have a jury trial.
He made that call?
Certainly, he waived his right to a jury trial.
Really?
So, supposedly in one of the cases, somebody didn't file it in time. That it's kind of incomprehensible to me that would be missed by people that are being paid that much money.
So is the conspiracy deliberate that it'd be easier to sway one judge than an entire jury?
No, I think it's easier for. I think he thought he would probably lose anyway in that venue. Who's going to show up at a New York trial? Right, the only people that won on that jury are the people that hate him.
Well, they'll take weeks just wading through the possibilities.
So at least at this point, he can point to the judge and say the judge is corrupt, right?
Yeah. So it's strategic.
I think so.
I think it's going to work.
I mean, at the end of the day, the New York case is about his finances, which some of the stuff is just ridiculous that they're claiming. Oh, you overvalued Palm Beach residents and paid all that money back.
See, I don't understand how that is even an argument that anyone doesn't just laugh out loud at. Because I can't go to the bank and say, oh, by the way, my property is worth $8 million. Give me some money. No, they're going to say, let's prove it.
Right.
And now, and if they don't, it's on them. That's not my fault.
Yeah. Right. And then, of course, you got the corruption going on down there in Georgia.
You mean was it Fannie Willis or whatever her name is, paying her own, is it her own legal counsel?
I think, it's her boyfriend, right?
Yeah, but is it her attorney, like for herself? Or is it just someone on her?
There was a prosecutor there, yeah.
600 some grand?
Yeah, I did. Well, I don't know if you noticed it, the invoice for one of the things was for meeting with the White House counsel, which they absolutely adamantly denied.
She paid for that?
Yeah. It was on one of the invoices.
Oh, my word. This is awesome. Is this real? See, are we not just living in a movie script? What's that movie with Jim Carrey in the
I know
in the world?
Yeah.
Oh, Man in the Moon. It's the other one.
He's in that dome.
Yeah, where he lives in his own little fantasy world. It's all actors that are this world
it's not
around
his
him.
fantasy world.
Well, right,
Everybody else
they're
is kind of playing him along, right?
It's like Weird Hunger Games without the death. Fawny. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. 4 hours ago, Georgia judge in Trump case targets February hearing on the Fannie Willis allegations. A cloud of uncertainty could hang over Donald Trump's criminal case in Georgia for several more weeks. Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee said Friday that early February was likely the soonest he could schedule a hearing to consider removing Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis from the criminal case she brought against the former president and others. McAfee said he was waiting a response from Willis to claims that she hired her alleged romantic partner, Atlanta lawyer Nathan Wade, to the case as a special prosecutor, and that they both benefited from the agreement financially. Hello. 600 grand plus. I'm in the wrong business, apparently.
But you should be in the corruption business.
Hey, it pays. That's a joke.
I was looking for that invoice. Drawing a blank on it at the but the whiskey is good. So what do you think? After this
full-bodied, the taste, it says. Well, okay, on the nose, there's chocolate there, supposedly.
I don't get the chocolate.
Now, you will in the empty glass.
Empty glass.
But that's not the nose. Toasted oak, which is interesting. A full-bodied mix of vanilla, dark caramel, hazelnut, apple fruit, and spices is on the taste. Which I think the marzipan, to be quite honest, is the thing that jumps out the heaviest. It's weird.
So I definitely, whether they think there is or not, there's definitely a butterscotch flavor there.
Yeah, the finish is a long and creamy with lingering hints of honeyed apple. Honeyed apple.
I have to go put some honey on an apple. Tastes like.
Wait, would a honeyed apple be kind of cooked in honey?
I kind of get the honey taste there at the end.
Yeah, perhaps.
And definitely kind of floral. Gotta quit saying definitely. That's terrible.
Definitely. Most definitely.
Shut up, retard.
No, No, no. What, you're quoting a movie?
Well, I think
So we don't know what this show's going to be, but I don't know. Who knows?
it'll be us drinking whiskey. That's positive.
There's that.
Here's the other thing. We have whiskey. We have politics. The only thing we haven't touched on is religion. Got sports. So, we kind of come from, if somebody saw us, they might think we came from a reformed background since we're sipping bourbon and we both got the beards going on. But actually that's not really our background. So
that would be an interesting excursion down that road.
A trip.
And not that kind. This show, I believe, will be until I'm pretty sure it's going to be a value for value podcast. Just simply because I don't really want to deal with any ad spot. I don't want to do an ad read. I'm not going to do Tommy John's underwear.
Wait a minute.
Unless, of
this
course.
This one brought to you by...
What was that again? Do that once. Say that to the camera. Brought to you by
Woodford Reserves.
We paid $59 for this ad. No, I don't know. We'll see where this thing goes. It's interesting. If nothing else, it's just...
I at some point when we get a little closer to the summertime, in order to really look reformed, we're going to have to do this one outdoors with a cigar.
Now, when you say cigar, are you talking like standards?
We could do something like
Which
this.
It's not small by any means. If you happen to be watching this,
66 ring gauge, I think, is what that one is.
Or
we could do something.
Is that
more
a baseball bat?
So, but we definitely need to. There's that definitely again. It just keeps coming up. We will certainly need to do that.
Indeed. Chances are we won't be in the same room much.
No,
but
you want to live where it's cold and
okay.
And you brought that nasty
you
cold
say
weather
it's
here.
32 degrees here today. Now it's probably 50 degrees colder than that where I live, but still.
Man, when you're talking about we're already frozen and you're talking 50 degrees colder.
Yeah, it's gross. Although I will take 10, 20 below in a dry freeze than 10, 20 above.
We're gonna get this whole Las Vegas dry heat thing, right? But
it's a dry cold.
No, definitely a wet cold will cut through you quickly.
Excellent. Well, 2XO and Woodford Double Oaked.
Yeah,
has been the.
I think
the
we
spirit.
have something else queued up for next time, don't we? Looks like a genie bottle or something.
Oh, see, but I have to acquire one of those in order to be able to.
I think I can manage to acquire you one.
Interesting. We'll work on that off the air.
Right.
But, yeah, I guess this is the spirit was 2XO and Woodford Reserve. And
did you have a
we
favorite?
had the spirited talk along the way.
Maybe less spirited.
Yeah. The double oaked is good. I'm gonna stop saying that too. I think I prefer the 2XO.
Do you? You like the more?
I think so, and it's spicy-ish.
Yep.
The rye. They both have some rye ness to them.
Yep.
But it's possible it's the marzipan. That isn't my favorite.
Gotcha.
On the double oak.
Gotcha.
The Woodford.
Well, for me, I definitely like the Woodford Reserve a little better.
They are both fantastic, so it's not like you can go wrong.
For me, so I'm going to use words that are not supposed to be used apparently with these. The Woodford Reserve to me is a little softer
Mm-hmm.
to the palate,
Mm-hmm.
just a little smoother. And the 2XO just has a little bite to it.
Okay.
That's my analysis.
There it is.
It's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Sticking to it, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cheers at the end of the game.
Until next time.
This is the Whiskey Rebellion.